There are almost a billion native speakers of various Romance languages. A lot of people think of the major five, Spanish, French, Italian, Portuguese, and Romanian, but there's over 40 smaller languages as well. Meanwhile, Chinese alone has even more native speakers, about 1.3 billion. But is it really one language? This is a map of Romance languages where native speakers can be found in Europe. Now, a lot of these areas are of course dominated by the one major language, like Castilian Spanish, French, and Italian. But there are dozens of other languages that are still spoken and recognized, although they do have varying amounts of mutual intelligibility with each other. A lot of people who speak Portuguese can understand Spanish to a certain extent, and same for Spanish speakers listening to Italian and many other languages within this family group. But what about Chinese? Are there really over a billion speakers of one Chinese language? Well, linguistically, we would consider it much more diverse. Linguists typically consider there to be about 10 major language groups, but there are like over 300 identifiably distinct dialects that may or may not be considered languages depending on who you ask. So why do we often consider so many of these to be one Chinese language? They do all use the same writing, and I'm not just talking about the same letters or alphabet. They write everything the same way, at least formally. Part of that is because of tradition, but also because of the unified government. Whereas Romance languages are spread across multiple countries with lots of autonomous regions and a history of tons of different little kingdoms and warring factions. Whereas China, which certainly has its history of warring factions, has still had a large history where large swaths of this land, especially in the eastern portion, were controlled by one government for hundreds and thousands of years. And in the modern day, with an even larger country that's in control of a one-party government. So now more than ever, it's politically in the government's interest to say we are all unified under one Chinese language. The only real distinction between a dialect and a language is often political. And by using the same writing system across the land, it would kind of be like saying all of this region speaks Italian and uses Italian writing standards as their formal writing. So no matter how you speak in Spain, Portugal, France, or Romania, or some of these other regions in other countries, you still write standard Italian. That's what people do when they're writing Chinese. Of course, informally, there are some more variations where people write more like how they speak, but on a formal level, that is what they're doing. And the last time all of this area was under one unified government where they might have employed a similar policy, they were still speaking that same Latin language, just with various dialects, but still a very high level of mutual intelligibility that even languages today don't have.